Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're pulling back the curtain on something really, really critical, but maybe often invisible. It's the intricate systems that ensure quality and safety in healthcare, especially in those high-stakes places like, say, the intensive care unit.
Yeah.
We've got quite a stack of sources for this deep dive. There's material on global accreditation bodies like Joint Commission International, JCI, and national ones too, like India's NABH, the National Accreditation Board for Hospitals and Healthcare Providers. Plus, we've got guidance on essential ICU protocols, stuff for staff, but also really important info for families.
Yeah, that family part is key.
Definitely. And we'll also touch on a healthcare consultancy firm, SupremeDic, and some related services via HospiMatch. They seem to help hospitals actually, put all this into practice. So our mission here, it's really to cut through the complexity and give you the essential insights, understand the frameworks driving quality care, and why sticking to specific practices, especially in critical spots like the ICU, is just so vital. It's about getting a handle on the how and the why behind patient safety and maybe appreciating the massive effort that goes on behind the scenes. Okay, let's unpack this.
Absolutely. And, when you talk about the foundation of quality in healthcare, you almost have to start with that external validation piece, these accreditation bodies. They provide a really crucial layer of accountability and a structured path for hospitals to actually improve.
Yeah, they really set the bar, don't they? Globally, Joint Commission International, JCI, that's a huge name.
Right.
They're known everywhere for focusing specifically on healthcare quality and patient safety. Their mission statement even says something like enabling the highest standards for everyone. It's quite broad.
And they've got the history to back it up. JCI has been, driving quality improvement for over 20 years now. They operate in, over 70 countries. Accredited more than 1,000 programs. It's not just about, picking boxes. Their approach is really comprehensive. Rigorous international standards, yes, but also practical training, advisory services, even tools to help build what they call high reliability, and specific certifications, too, beyond just the main hospital one. Things for clinical care, sustainability, even telehealth now.
That combination is what seems really powerful. They don't just say, here's the standard. They offer resources, education, tools, helping facilities actually meet it and keep meeting it. And I noticed they specifically target risks with their international patient safety goals, pinpointing known problem areas, things that cause issues worldwide.
Exactly. And they push this idea of continuous improvement. It's not a one-and-done check. It's an ongoing journey. They even have events like Unify 2025 mentioned.
Right. That seems to be the core of what the sources call the JCI advantage, leveraging all that experience.
Decades of it.
To help hospitals achieve really reliable care, providing resources from the top brass right down to the frontline staff.
And the sources had some really interesting quotes from hospital leaders about the impact, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. Alex Lan in Hong Kong apparently called JCI accreditation one of the best team-building exercises, said it seriously improved coordination, communication.
That's huge in a hospital setting.
Totally. And Chiji Kurian pointed out the competitive edge, boosting community confidence,
For us.
and importantly, improving risk management and building a real culture of patient safety.
Imad Sadek just said it adds value, enhances patient confidence. Sometimes simple is powerful.
It is. And Roxana Fulton emphasized that getting that JCI Gold Seal isn't just like an award. It shows this continuous commitment to being excellent, and it's recognized everywhere. It signals trust, basically.
So, okay, that's the big global picture with JCI. But like you said, many countries also have their own strong national systems, like NABH in India, the National Accreditation Board for Hospitals and Healthcare Providers. It's part of their Quality Council of India. And its job is specifically to set those national benchmarks and run accreditation for healthcare organizations there.
It's interesting. The source notes, it's supported by government, industry, consumers, all the stakeholders, but it still operates with full functional autonomy.
Yeah, that independence is probably important.
The goal sounds similar to JCI,
Yeah.
just on a national scale.
Yeah.
Creating an ecosystem where quality healthcare can thrive.
Right. So we have these powerful bodies, JCI globally, NABH nationally, in this example, setting these high standards. The goals are clear. Which brings us to the really critical question, I think. How do these high-level goals, these standards, how do they actually translate into action, especially when things are critical minute to minute in the most demanding places?
Yeah, that takes us right to the sharp end, doesn't it? To the front line, specifically the intensive care unit, the ICU.
Yep.
If you or, someone you care about has ever been in an ICU, it's Well, it's intense, constant activity, lots of focus.
Exactly. The sources describe the ICU as the place for the most critically ill patients. We're talking severe infections, major organ failure like heart attacks or strokes, complex post-surgery recovery needing intense monitoring, respiratory failure, really serious situations. And that's precisely why protocols aren't just like suggestions in the ICU. They're absolutely essential. It's about protecting the patient, obviously, but also standardizing care in a complex environment, ensuring everyone's on the same page. It's fundamental safety.
One source lists these essential doses just for the ICU staff, and it really drives that point home. It talks about relentless vigilance, meticulous monitoring every vital sign, urine output, lab result.
Non-stop data.
Right. Daily reviews of everything, meds, cultures, antibiotics.
Yeah.
Constant focus on potential pitfalls like airway management. That can go wrong fast if not managed perfectly.
And it's not just the clinical tasks, is it? There's a huge emphasis in these protocols on teamwork and communication. Clear information flow within the team, coordination with other departments, keeping lines open with the patient and family. It's all protocol because any breakdown, any miscommunication could have really serious consequences.
Yeah.
And it's also about basing practice on evidence, sticking to established guidelines, and crucially, continuous learning. Medicine changes fast, especially critical care.
And woven into all that technical stuff is patient-centered care. It's still about the individual, their specific needs, comfort, support.
It's not just the machines.
Exactly. Plus, the sources mentioned the practical things too. Environmental controls, backup power, making sure the equipment is right and working, and super strict infection control. The basic foundation has to be solid.
And this, right here, this is where the rubber meets the road, isn't it? These detailed staff protocols. They're the real, tangible way those high-level standards from JCI or NABH actually get implemented. This is the daily operational reality that makes that accreditation badge on the wall actually mean something for patient safety.
Precisely. Now, the sources also spend a good amount of time on the do's for families and visitors in the ICU. And this is such vital information because navigating that as a family member can be overwhelming. These aren't just arbitrary rules to make things difficult. They're directly linked to the patient's well-being and the staff's ability to do their critical jobs.
Yeah, they start with the real basics, like respecting visiting hours, sticking to the times, understanding maybe only 1 or 2 visitors at once. It might feel restrictive, but it's about patient privacy, preventing the patient from getting overwhelmed,
Right.
and crucially, giving the clinical team the space and focus they need for complex care. The advice is simple. Ask the nursing desk for the schedule.
Being informed is another big one they highlight. Asking questions, seeking clarification from staff, trying to be present during rounds if possible. It helps families understand, but it also ensures the team has key info allergies, patient preferences, history.
That two-way communication.
Exactly.
And then there's respecting the ICU team's instructions. These folks are highly trained, dealing with life or death situations, following their lead on things like hand hygiene or maybe how the family coordinates information. It's not really optional. It's essential for safety. Keeping the room calm, quiet, speaking softly seems small, but it contributes to a healing environment, which is so important.
Designating one family member as the main point of contact that's such a practical do, avoids confusion, cuts down on repeated calls and interruptions for the staff.
Definitely streamlines things.
And having emergency documents ready, insurance, ID, reports, seems obvious maybe, but in a crisis, having that stuff accessible just smooths the process.
Understanding the equipment can also help reduce anxiety, right?
Right.
All those monitors, ventilators, lines, they can look intimidating. Asking staff to briefly explain what they do can, demystify it a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And for everyone involved, family, patient, if they're aware, staying calm during necessary procedures, trusting the team, being ready for changes, because conditions can change quickly.
Or sometimes agonizingly slowly.
Right, or slowly. And thinking ahead to post-ICU care, these are all part of navigating that journey.
The sources also list some key don'ts for families, and they really hammer home the why.
Yeah.
Like, don't insist on staying longer than permitted. Mm-hmm. It disrupts the workflow. Don't demand hourly updates. Doctors have to prioritize the most urgent needs.
They can't be on the phone constantly.
No. Don't crowd the nurse station. It physically blocks their work area. Don't panic at every beep. The machines are sensitive. Staff are watching them. And a big one. Don't record or photograph inside. Huge privacy breach against the rules everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely.
These rules aren't just red tape. They're about protecting safety and enabling care in that really critical space.
So this level of rigorous standardization, these protocols for everyone involved, staff, visitors, it points to a bigger challenge, doesn't it? How do hospitals even build the systems, get the right infrastructure, find and train the skilled people needed to consistently meet these really demanding standards and implement these complex protocols day after day?
That's exactly where the support system piece comes in. Building and running a hospital that can hit these high bars, it's incredibly complex. Our sources bring up Supremedic Consultancy as an example of a firm that specifically helps hospitals with this whole process.
Right. They seem to offer this really comprehensive support, partnering with hospital owners right from the get-go. From initial planning and design all the way through to actually achieving accreditation, like NABH or NABL, that's another lab-focused accreditation they mention. The list of services is pretty broad. It covers basically the whole life cycle of building and running a quality facility.
Yeah, we're talking planning the physical building layout,
Bricks and mortar.
making sure all the medical equipment is calibrated correctly, which is vital. Then the operational side, manpower planning, recruiting the right doctors and nurses, developing all those standard operating procedures or SOPs, implementing hospital information systems, making sure they're compliant legally and ethically. It's a massive undertaking.
You can really see why a hospital owner, especially maybe for a smaller or medium-sized facility, would need that kind of expert help. The knowledge required just spans so many different fields: construction, biomedical tech, HR, IT, legal, quality management. It's way beyond just clinical expertise. So using a consultancy brings in that specialized knowledge. It can make things more efficient, potentially save time and money, and give that assurance on the regulatory side. They even mentioned different engagement models, like equity partnerships, which is interesting.
And those related topics hinted at by the HospiMatch source, things like healthcare financing, managing chronic diseases, specialized care for seniors, or mental health. It just reminds us that hospitals are dealing with this huge range of challenges, operating within a really complex ecosystem.
Yeah.
With diverse patient needs and financial pressures.
So if we sort of connect all these dots, it paints a pretty clear picture, I think. You've got the accreditation bodies like JCI and NABH providing the blueprint, setting the standards, giving that external push for quality. Then you have the rigorous protocol, like we discussed in the ICU, for both staff and families, as the moment-to-moment execution of that blueprint in the most critical areas.
Right, that's how.
And then you have the support services, like the consultancies, providing the essential infrastructure, the systems, the staffing expertise, the operational know-how, basically making it all possible, building the environment where quality can happen.
Understanding those layers, the standards, the protocols, the support, it really gives you a much deeper appreciation, I think, for the immense effort and the structured processes that go into trying to ensure quality and patient safety in healthcare.
Yeah.
It's this constant, complex interplay between systems and, well, critical human actions.
Yeah, this deep dive has really highlighted that whole journey, hasn't it? From those high-level standards all the way down to the absolutely essential daily practices that define safe healthcare.
And here's something I found really striking. That ICU source, when talking about the guidelines for families, it made this powerful statement. It said something like, in that high-stakes environment, cooperation isn't just helpful, it's vital. And following the rules is, in a way, a form of showing love and support for the patient.
Yeah.
That really stuck with me.
That's a strong point. And considering this intense focus on structure, on rules, on protocols, especially in critical care, it leaves us with a really compelling question for you, the listener. How do healthcare systems manage to balance this absolutely essential framework, this strict adherence to protocol that we need for safety, with those fundamental human needs for empathy, for flexibility, for connection, things that are also incredibly critical, especially in times of crisis? What stands out to weigh you from all this?